Let me set the scene for you. It's the year of our Lord, 2026, and you are a person that has spent your entire career as a social conservative, a fiscal conservative, and now you have to shill and defend the actions of Donald Trump. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Knock TV. I'm your boy Knock, and today I'm going to watch how Mehdi Hasan brought that smoke against Michael Knowles in a debate that they recently had. Now, I'm going to focus on Mehdi Hasan because I think it's important that people know how to come to these conversations if you're talking to a person that is going to, justify and defend fascism. And if you're going to be conversing or debating a person such as this, you need to come with some certain elements that Mehdi Hasan is going to show you exactly how to utilize today. You need to come with facts, right? You need to come with precision. You need to come with the ability to put that precision in all of those facts and compact them into 2-minute segments. But most importantly, I think the most important thing you have to do here is have some anger, because you're not having a conversation with just any old conservative. You're having a conversation with a person that has a direct line to the most powerful men in America, and these men are hell-bent on destroying America. And if you believe in democracy, if you believe in freedom, you need to show fire and anger. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know why Michael Knowles accepted this, why Michael Knowles showed up to this. He had to know that he would be defending the indefensible, and he'd be doing it against one of the best debaters, if not the best debater in the world. But he did do it. He did accept it, and he showed up pretty cocky.
Yeah. Anybody know any good jokes? Mehdi doesn't show up. Do I just win the debate?
That's right. I know you can barely hear it. The debate hadn't started yet, but he's talking about if Mehdi doesn't show, like he doesn't think Mehdi's going to have the audacity to show and have a debate with a guy that's not going to be able to defend his positions. And I'll leave a link in the description to this debate, because I highly recommend you watch the entire debate. I'm going to be focusing on Mehdi Hasan. The focus will be on Mehdi in the 2 videos that I'm going to make on this, but I highly recommend you go and watch this entire video. Now, the person coughing is going to be a problem through the entire thing, as you're going to see in this video and in my next video. It's not the best quality. The camera glitches, you're going to see that in my clips, but I highly recommend you go and watch this entire video if you want to know how to talk to a defender of fascism. Oh, and I'm forgetting out like the most important thing. I keep calling them defenders of fascism, which is true, but the most awful thing is they're defenders of pedophilia. Alright, so let's get into our first real clip of this video of Mehdi bringing the smoke. Now, the format of this was the moderator would ask a question, each person would get 2 minutes, and the first person that would go would get a minute rebuttal. And they would take turns on who would be going first on the question. Mehdi gets the first question. This is his initial 2 minutes, and he doesn't waste any time. If you're going to be talking to a defender of fascism, a defender of pedophilia, you better bring the smoke.
Constitutional norms, very vague. I'm not sure actually what that means, apart from a historical precedent, what other people have done. And I think tonight, I'm guessing, and Michael can tell me I'm wrong, that a lot of Michael's argument will be, well, other presidents did this, a lot of whataboutism, a lot of see what X did, see what Y did, see what Obama did, see what Biden did. And I think we just have to be very clear here. We're talking about Donald Trump tonight. Donald Trump is sui generis. There's never been a president like him before, certainly not in our lifetimes. He's undeniably violating both constitutional norms, i.e. precedents, but also the Constitution. the amendments, the articles of the Constitution in this country. He's doing it all the time.
All right, so Mehdi coming out with that fire right from the beginning, differentiating Trump from anybody else. And Michael Knowles is going to do exactly what Mehdi said. He's going to play whataboutism the whole time. He's going to be, what about this president? What about this president? What about that president over there? And you just can't do that with Donald Trump. You just can't. Any other president, you could. You know, it was hard enough with George W. Bush and his lies about weapons of mass destruction and his destruction of the American economy. That was hard enough. But Donald Trump, that's a different bag. And you're not going to be able to do these comparisons because there are no comparisons to Donald Trump. And if you're going to go out there and try to defend the actions of Donald Trump, and you've spent your entire career as a social, fiscal conservative, well, you're about the business of destroying yourself.
At this point, at this stage, anyone who tells you Donald Trump is not violating the Constitution is gaslighting you and or a member of his cult, right? The facts are very clear. We can go through them in order. I mean, right now, if you look at the Constitution, Donald Trump is violating the Appropriations Clause, the Emoluments Clause, the Elections Clause, the Taxing and Spending Clause, the Take Care Clause, the Declare War Clause. He's also violating the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, maybe soon the 22nd Amendment, as he suggested yesterday. And, you know, yes, other presidents, to go back to your question, have violated norms. Other presidents have certainly violated clauses of the Constitution. But no president, certainly not in modern American history, has launched a multi-pronged, across-the-board, open assault on, forget norms, on the amendments and articles of our Constitution in the space of less than 18 months.
Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that the debate is about whether or not Donald Trump is upholding the Constitution? Like, why in the hell would Michael Knowles accept this debate, right? Like, he can go on the Daily Wire, he can go on any podcast that he wants to and talk to an ally of his, right? And he can give those talking points and he'll get away with it. You're not going to get away with it with Mehdi Hasan, right? Mehdi Hasan is going to bring facts and he is going to know every single point to bring out. And we're talking about Donald Trump here. Donald Trump doesn't even pretend to try to hold up the Constitution.
None of them were rebuked by their own vice president for trying to violate the Constitution and the rule of law. What did Mike Pence say? I know Michael's a big fan of Mike Pence. So I came specially with a Mike Pence quote. Mike Pence said, President Trump demanded, I choose between him and our Constitution. If you are pressuring your own vice president to put you above your Constitution, you're not just violating norms, you're violating the Constitution, you're violating your oath of office. And it is very clear tonight that Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to the Constitution. Forget norms. Let's raise the bar. To the Constitution, to the articles and amendments of the Constitution, to our rights and liberties, to our democracy. And you don't have to take my word for that tonight. Just take Mike Pence's.
And every single bit of that is completely documented, right? Not only documented, but played out on live TV on January 6th. For the entire world to see, right? So somehow this country chose to elect a person who does not give two shits about the Constitution of the United States, about law, about order. He only cares about power. And while a good part of the electorate might be forgiven for that, for ignorance, you cannot say that of Michael Knowles. And honestly, I don't really care about your ignorance, right? I don't think you should be forgiven for that. Now, I don't think that your life should be ruined, but it's time, since you guys did this in ignorance, to come out of your ignorance.
The Mike Pence standard of constitutional jurisprudence. Okay, wonderful to be here. Thank you all for having me. You know, my father is a Dartmouth graduate, so I hope I don't do the family too much shame this evening.
All right, so right from the beginning, Michael Knowles seems shook. He wants to portray this aura of confidence. But if you watch this really closely, like, you can see he is uncomfortable, right? And he's going to make that comment there about how he does his family proud since his dad went to Dartmouth and went to this school. And I'm going to tell you something, Michael, you don't. You know, he goes, what about Truman? He goes, what about Lincoln? What about Bush? What about Obama? what about, instead of defending Trump and his blatant disregard of the Constitution, right? So if Michael Knowles had any principle at all, if Michael Knowles was actual social and fiscal conservative, he would be one of the loudest voices against Donald Trump. But Michael Knowles is a person who can't find it in himself to have a single criticism of Donald Trump. And everybody should be able to see right through that, right? Like, if you can't criticize your own side, why should anybody listen to you? And MAGA, I'm talking to you, right? Why would you want to listen to anyone who is so fucking afraid of their own shadow that they won't criticize their own side?
So, just to respond very quickly on the main point about deporting foreigners, you said at the end, who have no right to be here. Notice the phrasing. Deporting foreigners have no right to be here. How do we know they have no right to be here unless they have due process? That's the whole point. When you end up deporting American citizens, do you know they deported American citizens? Terry Doughty is a Trump judge who last year ruled that a 2-year-old American child who was deported with her mother against her father's wishes, who was in the US, he said, the administration just deported an American citizen without any meaningful process. That was a Trump judge's verdict when he heard what ICE had done, right? In Minnesota, another Trump judge, her name is Nancy Brazel, appointed by Donald Trump. She said, the government asserts the right to arrest thousands of people, put them in an overcrowded warehouse, and then deny them their right to due process. That's Nancy Brazel ruling against this administration on Fifth Amendment grounds. Again, Trump judges.
Mehdi brings the smoke, and that's how you're going to have to do it. And it's not easy to do. It would not be easy for me to do. It definitely would be not easy for me to do. Memorizing all those facts, having them just at hand, being able to pull out the right fact at the right time for the right question. It's not easy, but this is the blueprint. This is how you do it. Michael Knowles had nothing for this. You know, Michael Knowles' career is pretty much in the gutter because he lashed himself to the Daily Wire. You know, he has this particular brand of incestuous hatred for everybody that I think that he could probably succeed away from the Daily Wire, but he seems hell-bent on going down with that ship, and I'm all for that. Michael Knowles wants you to think that he is, you know, that highfalutin society type, but he just has more information than the rest of them, right? So he can look down and sneer at those snooty liberals who think they know everything, right? But clearly you don't know jack shit because you didn't even have the common sense to avoid this debate like it was the plague.
Michael seems to be under some illusion that we're here to debate Democrats versus Republicans. Unlike Michael, I'm not a partisan. I'm not here to blindly defend Democratic presidents. I don't really care what Harry Truman did. I already conceded. Presidents have done bad things, but no one has done stuff like Trump. Let me give you one example. 18 months he's been in office. 18 months. He's defied court cases, defied court orders. In 1 in 8 cases, AP just did a story, the Associated Press the other day, 31 court cases that he lost, he's just ignoring the court orders. Presidents haven't done that before. They violated the Constitution, then a court says, hey, you did something wrong, and then they fix it. They don't say F off to the judges. That is what this president does. Let me give you another example on the immigration front. Between October and February of this year, according to a recent study, hundreds of judges across the country ruled 4,400 times. I'm going to say that again. 4,400 times judges across this country ruled that Donald Trump and his administration were illegally detaining migrants in this country without due process. 4,400 times.
So again, 4,400 times judges have ruled against Donald Trump unconstitutionally, not giving immigrants their due process. That's just one issue of his unconstitutionality, right? Like, so Donald Trump upholding the Constitution at this point in 2026, you cannot defend that. Why accept a debate you can't defend unless you're just so haughty, unless you're just so overconfident, unless you're just so cocky that you think you're going to walk into this and just walk all over Mehdi Hasan, who is known for being an assassin in debates. I mean, just think of the arrogance of that. Like, Michael Knowles thinks that his his fan base is just so fucking stupid. They're not going to be able to recognize the fact that he just got his ass handed to him, that he couldn't defend the great leader, right? And some of them won't. Most of them probably won't. Most of them will cherry pick times where Michael might have scored a point. But deep down, all of those people know. All of these people know they're living the lives of charlatans. They don't believe in half the shit they say they do. They're only in it for one of two reasons: because they might gain personal power, or they've been programmed to think that destroying and owning the libs is the only thing that matters in life. And I'm here to tell you, my friends, it is nothing. It's nothing compared to the grand scheme of your life. And liberals are not what you've been told they are. Now, I know we give you a bad taste in your mouth because, we call out your bullshit. But we're human beings that just want to see the best for this country. And if you've been programmed to think that we're evil...
Dr. Evil, I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
If your brain has been programmed to believe that your fellow American citizens are like sleeper cells trying to take down the government, maybe you need to look at your own actions and your own leaders. So if you're out there and you're a true social conservative, you truly believe in fiscal conservatism, I know that you've already left the Republican Party. I know that, and I know that some of you speak out. You try to reach these MAGAs and let them know like what conservatism really is, but you need to be louder. You need to be louder about it, and more of you need to be doing it, because I know there's a lot more of you out there. And you're out there and you buried your heads in the sand just hoping your beloved Republican Party will come back to you, and it's not going to unless you fight for it. And as I've shown, Mehdi just brought the smoke, and the only thing Michael Knowles can do is play whataboutism and resort to a rather low ad hominem attack, red meat for his base. But even that is a failure, because, all of those alpha bros that were your base, they pretty much jumped ship now. You might have a few left, but the only thing you really have left are these Zionist neocons and Fox boomers, and I just don't really think that they're even gonna pick up on this.
But I'm also confused by my opponent's reaction, and I think this might be because my opponent here has the misfortune of being grown up in a foreign country where he did not learn proper English. The United Kingdom, they don't, so maybe he misheard when I spoke, but I answered in the affirmative.
I don't think that lands, Michael. You're supposed to be this highfalutin intelligent dude, right? You should know, the moment you have to sink to ad hom in a debate is the moment you concede defeat in that debate. So that's essentially what Michael Knowles did, right? He can only play whataboutism, so he sinks to the ad hom because it's the only thing he can do, because he knows a certain element of MAGA is going to clip that out and play it and pronounce to the entire world that Michael Knowles owned Mehdi Hasan. When all you have to do is look into this debate, watch it with your own two eyes, hear it with your own two ears, and you're going to come to the conclusion that Michael Knowles needs to run away and never show his face again. And that's going to conclude this first part of Mehdi Hasan Brings the Smoke against Michael Knowles. We're going to get into the second part soon. I'm going to start making that next, and we'll get into the viral clip, the clip that's going viral right now, where Mehdi Hasan just shows Michael Knowles for the sycophant stooge that he is. As always, I'm your boy Knock. This is Knock TV. This is my reality. If you enjoy it, if you enjoy the content, please interact with it. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I need all the help I can get. New channel, growing it. You guys can help me do that. And again, thank you for watching the video.